This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I'm sure you've heard the importance of a strong core in our bodies. I mean, it all originates there in the center, connected to the spine, all of that. Of course, you can go to the gym, spend a lot of time doing lots of planks and other things like that support the core. Imagine if you were to go to a wellness center and they use a couple of pieces of equipment that strengthen the core and the floor. By the floor, I'm referring to the pelvic floor, and you don't have to do anything. How wonderful would that be? It exists, and we're going to talk about it today. And this is all courtesy of Thorpe Chiropractic and Wellness, St. Petersburg, Florida. Lorraine I'm stuck on the word Florida. Lorraine Thorpe from the center is with us. She's the founder and back on with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Very excited to learn about this because I usually, every time I go to the gym, it's like 4 times a week, I'll do planks. Yeah, I'll do I'll incorporate at least 15 minutes of stretching and some kind of, literally floor work because the core is so important. And we don't realize it the older you get, how more important it is for everything, like from balance to it all originates from the core. But I don't really like working out that much.
Yeah.
So you can take care of that. What 2 devices or pieces of equipment can facilitate that?
So we have a whole treatment that we call core to floor. Really important, not just if you're an athlete, also just through the whole kinetic foundation of your body, for balance as we get older, for spinal stability. And we use the M-Scalp Neo to strengthen the abdominal muscles, as well as the Mcella, which is the pelvic floor strengthening chair. So zero downtime, but when you combine those 2 technologies together, it delivers what we call the core to floor transformation. Uh, it's really simple concept, but it's super duper powerful, because you strengthen and rebuild the body from the pelvic floor all the way up to your abdominal core, and it's a game changer, not just for health and fitness, but for performance, recovery, and just overall longevity.
You don't realize how important that core is
Hmm.
until you do simple tests or exercises. Stand on one leg. See how long you
Yeah,
can do that.
right.
Now bend down on that one leg. Even if you're holding on to something, if it's challenging to do, we got a little bit of work to do there because it's only going to get
Right.
more challenging as you get older. And
Correct.
the left
Yes.
part of your body is different than the right part of your body. And I certainly would love to get that done and stronger, uh, done easier using this technology. What are some of the expectations, Lorraine, in terms of let's take it in 2 different ways. Focus on the
Okay.
core, and then we'll get to the pelvic floor in a sec. But when we're talking about
Okay.
the core,
Okay. So when we're talking about the core, we're talking about the abdominal wall. So in that, we start with the first technology, which is the M-Scalp Neo, and that the M-Scalp Neo combines high FEM, which is high intensity focused electromagnetic energy, with radio frequency heating. It's a 30-minute session, no downtime. It contracts the muscles in your abdominal area 20,000 times. So 20,000, uh, contractions. That's impossible to achieve voluntarily just by going to the gym. So you're using 100% of your muscle fibers. And in one 30-minute session, you get 20,000 super maximal contractions. So you build muscle, burn fat, and overall improves your functional strength, all while you're just laying down. So that's the core part of it. And then the pelvic floor, we use the device called Mcella, where that focuses on the pelvic floor using the same electromagnetic technology, but it specifically targets those deep, hard to activate muscles that control like your bladder function, core stability, and even sexual health. So so if you think about the Mcella, it's an intense workout for that whole foundation of your body. And we achieve that and you're fully clothed and you're just sitting in this chair and you get 11,000 contractions in 28 minutes doing that treatment.
Now, that part, are you referring to Emsella, or are we still talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Nope. That's
You literally sit, right?
You literally sit. Yep. You sit in this chair.
And is it doing the same thing as the other one is M Sculpt? Is that
I'm
right?
Sculpt Neo. Yes,
Neo.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Um,
Yep.
that's using radio frequency waves. Is Emsella doing the same thing except you're sitting?
So the high FEM, which is the high intensity focused electromagnetic energy, is the same technology in both. MCELA does not combine that with radio frequency. The radio frequency portion of the treatment in the M-Sculpt Neo is what there's the part of it that burns the fat. So the high
Ah,
FEM is the technology that causes the contractions.
so it does both actually?
Yes, the M-Sculpt Neo does both. It's two technologies in one.
Wow. All right. So
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. I was aware of
Yeah.
what's causing the contractions. So is it even fathomable to think that you might see less fat around your midsection after a number of treatments?
Yes. So after a series of four, which is what all of the studies are based on, you typically see an average of a 30% reduction in total fat in the area and a 25% increase in muscle mass.
Wow.
Yeah.
This gets better every time we talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're building muscle and reducing fat.
Yes. And the fat reduction is permanent. It's complete uh, what they call apoptosis, which is fat cell death. It's basically the radio frequency basically cauterizes the fat cells, which is like burning them. And you can see that, on electron microscopy, you can actually see the fat cells being completely burned. And then that flushes through your lymphatics. And then
Ah,
yeah, it's pretty wild. And that never comes back. That's done. It's like a non-surgical liposuction. But you combine that with the high FEM, which is the high intensity focused electromagnetic energy, causing the contractions, and that you see on average a 25% increase in muscle mass. So with the Mcella, you get that same muscle contraction, but you're doing that with the pelvic floor. So when you combine the two of those technologies together, you're addressing the whole kinetic chain from the ground up. So you're working on pelvic stability, with the Mcella, which supports your posture, your core engagement. So that helps, just being a chiropractor, that helps with your spinal alignment. And then with the M Sculpt Neo, you get these stronger abdominals, and that causes you to have better balance, less pain, so less low back pain, less leg pain. And when you strengthen that abdominal wall, you not only have less pain in so many different parts of your body, but you're more powerful in everything you do, whether it's sports or weight training or just living without daily aches or pains.
and I do want to remind everybody, you're a doctor. This is
Yes.
not, just somebody in a spa, which, is
Correct.
fine, but this is coming from, viewed from the medical side of things. I've often heard that Emsella can help with bladder control. Is that true?
Yes, correct. It is FDA cleared for
Mm.
urinary incontinence and stress incontinence, as well as erectile dysfunction. So it also improves your sexual wellness, men and women.
Wow. What's the downside on any of these? Pain, discomfort, side effects, anything?
So typically, if you can get an MRI, if your MRI is safe, you can typically do these treatments. Of course, there are contraindications, like, if you have a pacemaker, or if you're pregnant, or if you have metal implants, you definitely don't want to do that because it is a magnet. So
Mm.
downside, no, there is no downside. There is no downtime. The only time you ever see people that get a little bit sore from the M-Scalp Neo is if they're completely dehydrated, which we typically, don't want to do the treatment on somebody who's, dehydrated. You want to make sure they're hydrated, they get better treatment. If you've ever seen an MRI, penetrates through water, and that's how you get the images, right? So you want to stay hydrated, you just get better results.
Imagine doing all those contractions at the gym. Imagine doing all those planks. What are you going to feel like on a regular basis? And you're probably not going to even come close to what you're getting here in a
Correct.
very short amount of time. When we talk about, I like to call it nuking the fat. Um, is there anything going on there? I've done cool sculpting before where it essentially freezes the fat. And, there's a little sensitivity, like a freezer burn, I guess you want to call it that.
Right.
Yeah, nothing major, but, it was something to be aware of. Is there anything, with this that you're going to feel?
No, so the radio frequency produces heat, but people do not feel hot. It penetrates and disperses. So the nice thing about radio frequency, and especially when it's being distributed by with the M Sculpt Neo with the paddles, the radio frequency will disperse, unlike with cool sculpting where you get those little areas where it sucks the fat up, and it actually,
Yes.
it can be painful, and it could cause issues with your nerve endings. There's been, cases in the past where people have had disruption with the nerve endings and had some issues. Not like that with radio frequency, and more recent studies are showing that heat is actually more effective than the cold for, destroying the fat cells. With the M-Scalp Neo, you're not only burning surface fat because it penetrates so deep, you're actually getting the intramuscular fat, so the fat that's in between all of those muscle fibers, and it penetrates so deep that we're seeing a reduction in visceral fat, so that dangerous fat that surrounds your organs. So it's huge. It's huge, for longevity, for total health. It's just an incredible device. And when you destroy those fat cells, they are gone for good. And because it disperses so well, it's not just landing on that one little spot like that what would happen with, a cool sculpting device. This device is just far superior, and you don't address any of the muscle with those other devices. This is addressing muscle, so you're increasing the metabolism in that area because you're building muscle. So it's a big deal. So, and when you combine it with the Mcella, just from a biohacking standpoint, because biohacking is all about creating a much superior, you know, situation overall, for so you have better longevity, you have better quality of life. This combination of the two together is incredible. So, it just, you're essentially giving your whole neuromusculoskeletal system a fast track to strength adaptation. You're stimulating the muscle fibers, increasing the circulation. It's just incredible for your body.
So you mentioned when we talked about cool sculpting, that targets
Yeah.
certain areas around the belly.
Yes.
You can't. It's different spots, and if you want
Yes.
to target more, you got to go back. How does M Sculpt Neo target? Is the same kind of way? Like, let's say, I want to do the flanks, the love handles, um, but I also want to get other areas. Can it do other areas?
Yes, you can do tons of areas. So whatever area you're doing, so the average is an increase of muscle, uh, by 25% in 4 treatments, and a reduction of fat by 30%. So, but you can do the abdominal area and it will disperse. And there's other paddles that do the flanks. We do the inner and outer thigh, the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, the calves, the biceps, the triceps. There's a ton of areas we can do. Now, and every different area is a separate 30-minute session. So if you and we can do up to 3 regions in one sitting. So it's just time. So it's 30 minutes for each different area.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's say you want to work on belly fat, the whole,
Yes.
the whole abdominal area, maybe the love handles. Do you need to get that in? When you say different areas, the left side is one, the right side is one, maybe the center is one, or is that one complete area?
So the abdominal area is one region, and the flanks you do both. So it's a different paddle. So that would be 2 different regions. So you do the abdominals and then the flanks separately. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm coming in 20 minutes. I want to take care of the flanks, abdominal. You know what? I've been working on the pecs. Would that be three in one session?
So we actually don't put it right over the pec area. We can do the functional
Well, you
protocol,
pick any
but
other area then. It could be
yeah,
I want to work on
the
biceps,
glutes.
triceps,
Oh,
whatever.
the yeah,
Pick
yeah,
another.
yeah. That would be another. So you would do 30 minutes on the abdominal area and then 30 minutes on the flanks. And then whatever area you pick next. So you're depending on how long you want to be there. We limit it in one treatment to 3 areas because remember, it's a lot of contractions. It's 20,000 super maximal contractions using 100% of your muscle fibers. Each area we do it. So, that's 60,000 super maximal contractions in one sitting if you do 3 regions. It's a lot. And just the fat burning side of it, that's a lot flushing through your lymphatics. So that's why we do that. And you do the treatments 1 time a week. And that because it gives your body a chance to lay down those myocytes, those muscle fiber cells, and allows the lymphatic system to flush out those fat
Wow.
cells.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm coming in for my M Sculpt Neo. We're going to set that appointment 20 minutes from right now. Oh, yes, Mcella. I want to do that as well. Do I have
Yep.
to wait a certain amount of time before I jump onto that?
No, Mcella, you can jump right on right after your treatment. And Mcella, we typically like to do that in a series of 6, and we like to do that twice a week versus the one time.
Okay. It, what's wrong with this? This is just too good to be true. I mean, but it is.
It's listen, these technologies are unbelievable. You're penetrating anywhere from 8 to 10 centimeters when you with the high fem. It penetrates deep. So it's not like an electric muscle stim where you're causing like a little surface muscle twitch. You're penetrating and it is causing the breakdown of muscle, which is what happens when you lift weights, right? You're breaking down the muscle so that you can get they're called myocytes, those muscle cells, to come in and lay down new muscle. It's huge. What these devices do is virtually impossible to do if you go to the gym. You will never be able to get this type of contraction ever on your own. So it's unbelievable. So for especially for as we're aging or postmenopausal women, or just if you're trying to achieve more because of your sport, or just because you just want to kickstart your workout. It's amazing because you're literally helping reverse age related muscle loss, because we do tend to lose muscle just because we're aging. You're improving your metabolic health just by increasing those contractions. You're increasing blood flow, and you're literally boosting your neuromuscular connection without the wear and tear of heavy training, because you're targeting the belly of the muscle. So you're not You're not overusing the tendons. You're not, causing wear and tear in the joints. You're literally building muscle without just destroying any other possible overuse component if you were to work out really hard.
Is the way most of this works, is it the repair is what makes the change? For example, a lot of laser treatments, you're creating, go with me on this loosely, damage with let's say a laser treatment, and then the beauty or the change happens because your body is then repairing it. Same thing with this, is that working here as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the high fem, it's breaking down the muscles so that it stimulates those muscle cells to come in and build muscle. And the radio frequency with the M Sculpt Neo is it's going in and burning those fat cells, literally. And the repair is it'll break it down. Your body will break it down and flush it through your lymphatic system and get it out of your body. So you are you're literally causing that trauma so that your cellular activity will repair that area. So yes, exactly. Just different types of cells that are causing that repair. But yes,
Is it pretty much in a lot of treatments like this, and I'm from beauty to wellness, is that where the magic takes place? We're relying on our body to repair, and that's where the change comes.
yeah, absolutely. And as we get older, that doesn't happen so uh, without really a lot of effort. So when you stimulate this process, you're literally aging in reverse because you're creating a situation where your body is forced to lay down these new cells like collagen and elastin with radio frequency, and laying down myocytes with the high fem. It's pretty amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, it is
Uh,
so cool. For it's so unbelievable to me because you can treat people um and potentially as we get older you can literally avoid balance issues in the future. You can literally avoid injuries because you're strengthening.
yes.
Yeah. And
I
so
don't think people realize that. Yeah, to your point, if you're walking somewhere, you take a fall or you get off balance, this is going to keep you more on point. It is like turning back the hands of time because
absolutely.
let's say you've got, uh, I don't want to say muscle damage or skin damage or whatever it is, but just aging. Just aging.
Yes,
We're going
that's
back.
right.
We're telling our body to repair itself, to go back to the way it was. Same thing with the balance. Our balance, yeah, not the same as it was, 30 years
No,
ago. It's very
no,
different. Yeah. And
right.
that's how people as they age get injured. And here we go. When you do get injured, it takes you way longer to heal from it.
That's
So,
right.
you know,
Because we lose muscle. Our muscles start to atrophy as we age. So
yeah.
this is with these devices, it's literally like turning back the clock.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I know that
Of
you've mentioned
course.
M Sculpt Neo before, but Mcella, I don't know, it's just a tab on your website. Now I know, like, whoa,
Yeah,
everything from improving intimacy, incontinence,
right.
core, it's all going on there. Now, and what do you
That's
got to
right.
do? You got to sit in a chair.
Sit in
And
a
it
chair.
and it almost doesn't look like a chair. It looks like a comfortable, just
It is
decorative
comfortable.
cushion.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what it is? It looks like you're sitting on an ottoman. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what it was. Um,
Yeah.
what's your website down there at the center?
So it is thorpechiropractic.com.
Super
Easy,
simple.
super simple. Yep.
And
Check it out.
Thorpe is with an E at the end, right?
Yes, sir. That's
Gotcha.
right.
Lorraine, thanks for sharing all of this. Wonderful. I
All
really
right.
appreciate it.
All right. You have a great day.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.